Okay, so let's start. As I said, I don't know how many parts this is going to be. We're just going to let the Holy Spirit let her do as she will, but I assume that it will be at least 4 parts. Okay, maybe more. So the secret meeting place, as I told you, that's what we guys are going to focus on, because in my heart, that's what I feel the Most High Father is trying to get us to understand. And he's trying to, if I can understand well, trying to get us out of false messages and false ideas that we've had in the past. Because the thing is that before we did not have the information that we needed to understand correctly the truth, what is really happening. I mean, just think, Yahushua, he knew all of these things and much greater things back when he was here 2,000 years ago. Do you think he could explain to those people about Macintosh, or about time travel, or interdimensional travel, or a computer? You know, he couldn't. It was just outside of their ability to understand. So these things that we will have to deal with in the end days, which is coming very soon. We said this is all going to jump off 2019. Really, I mean, it's already happening. I know that, but I mean, really 2019 stuff is going to start to manifest. We're going to start really going to be dealing with these things at that point, starting at that point. So he is preparing us for that. But what we've learned in the past, there's no way that the ministers and people who were telling us about these end times, they couldn't have known. It was impossible. Now we're in a place, in a position where we can actually start to see these things coming true and understand really what's happening. It's not exactly going to happen the same way that people are thinking. It's something else. Okay, so let's explore this. And that reminds me of the brother's dream. Oh, it's a sister actually. I think she lives in Germany. If I can find it, I'll put it here. It was the dream that she had that started this whole thing about, she said there were 2 brides going to the altar, and then the other bride floated down and kissed a guy that was on the left, and it shocked everybody. It shocked everybody because they were expecting something different, you know, and I think that's really symbolizes what I'm talking about here. So when we're talking about the secret meeting place, I just want to be clear that it's a little bit different from the traditional thought. What I'm proposing is, what I'm understanding the message is that Yahushua comes down for Armageddon, the second coming, and New Jerusalem comes down to earth. What we're talking about specifically is Revelation 12, where the woman is rescued from the beast, from tribulation, or not all of tribulation, or the second half of tribulation, however that works, and is taken to the wilderness. So now the wilderness is an interdimensional place. The 5 groups of the bridal army, Revelation 19. Now that the Most High Father has given me the Hobbit, it is concrete and it is solid. I understand it, and I'm going to show you specifically, clearly, wrapping it up, who the 5 groups are of the bridal army, and the Revelation 19 sign, which was a miraculous thing that happened on this channel, where a subscriber, Sister Lily Lin, prophesied that my 144th subscriber would be of the utmost importance to pay attention to. So I did, and it turns out the 144th subscriber, her name was also Lynn, but spelled with a Y, or I don't want to get it mixed up, but one is spelled L-I-N-N and the other one is spelled L-Y-N-N, or L-I-N-L-Y-N-N. Anyways, it's still Lynn, just with different spellings, which is so crazy, you guys. It just made me understand something more about the Janus order. I'm going to have to remember this, okay? This is duality, Lynn and Lynn, with different spelling. Wow. Her name is Lily Lin, and the mother-in-law of the other, of Sister Lynn, of Sister Kathleen, her mother-in-law is named Lily Lin, I believe, or maybe just Lily, but I think it's Lily Lin. Yeah, it is. And so this, because I had a dream about a white suit, this led us to, and all of this is in the video, you can see that. This led us to Revelation 19. I think we were studying that in the video already, and it was just right in front of my face. And when I read it, I was like, oh my gosh. Revelation 19, you have the white suit, and then you have the Lin, which is actually in French. I live in Paris, France. I speak French. In French, Lin is linen. Okay, so that's right out of Revelation 19. You have the white, you have the Lin, and then guys, the Lily. I'm about to bring up the Lily in this new series, because that is so just confirmation after confirmation after confirmation. So yeah, you guys can look at that video. But so the 5 groups within this study we're about to do, comparing troll hunters and hobbits, we are going to confirm the 5 groups and this thing about Revelation 19, which is the bridal army. Okay, that I am 100 on this. Okay, if you had a gun to my head, I will not take this back. And I am sure, and I'm going to show you that that is the message that the Most High Father has given us here in this new series. The gems, we've talked about the gems, okay? That we are the gems and the stones. And you won't believe it, but of course in the Hobbit you have the gems and the stones as well. That's like the center part of the Hobbit. And this is so funny because I've seen the Hobbit. I might have even seen it more than once. I never noticed. I never paid attention. Guys, the gem? Guess what the name of the gem is in the Hobbit? It's called the Heartstone. In the middle of the what? Mountain. So you got it. You have it not only in Troll Hunters, but you have it in Moana, because I did a video talking about that in the Troll Hunters series about that doggone Heartstone, and it's the exact same name. It's called the Heartstone. So no quinky dinks here. This is serious. This is serious. Okay. In the Troll Hunter series, I dreamed of the ring and the meeting place. So I just explained to you in the introduction about that. How right after I told you guys that I'm going to start doing Lord of the Rings, I found a gold ring with 14 markings. Yeah. Anyway. Time travel in Janus. Okay, so the time travel came in because I had the dreams. It wasn't even a dream. It was literally I traveled. Okay, and I talked about that in that video when I was sleeping and the feeling in my stomach and all of that. So I actually, by slowing down my breathing, I actually went into this dimensional space, like in the movie. The time part is, as I was saying, I think that's the meeting place, and it's outside of time, just like in the Hobbit movie and the Lord of the Rings. But also we have this timeline, this hidden biblical timeline that we can read with Wakefulness Theology, that is, of course, time traveling, because that just means that Yahushua, when he's coming out of his mouth, he's speaking to us. It's the same as, imagine him speaking to his disciples and the words are coming out of his mouth, and he's speaking directly to us, multi-dimensional speak, writing them down in the Bible like notes for us to read 2,000 years later. Okay, so we really need to really talk about this a little bit more, because what? Excuse me. Okay. And Janus, wow. And I said again, Brother Richard brought that up. He brought up how, here's the picture about the Janus order, which went right over my head. Even though I took the picture and put it in the video, went right over my head. And also he pointed out that the symbol on the coat of Strickler is the CERN symbol. So as soon as he said to me CERN and Janus, and then I had just had the confirmation with Sister Diana Olivieri's dream, I knew it. I was like, all right, the time travel thing, the dimensional travel thing, and the goddess Janus, they go together. So I started doing a study on that, and my look, you know what? I got the idea, but I believe I know that when I start talking about it, it's just going to be like, I mean, it's crazy. So we're going to talk about that. And so as far as the Hobbit is concerned, of course we have the ring, and I already told you that there's the ring and troll hunters as well, and I told you about that in the intro. When we're going to talk about the Hobbit, confirms the groups and the timeline, so that's right here. We're going to talk about that. So one of the other important parts of this study that we want to do is the evil army, because yeah, in the Troll Hunter series, the Most High Father brought it to our attention that there's 5 groups in the Bridal army. But you know what? There's also 5 groups in the Evil's army, the Evil One's army. So we're talking about Revelation 19, but the second part, when he's talking about the Satan and he gathers his army as well. So we need to know who they are and what is that about, because in Christianity we're always like the Antichrist, the Antichrist, the Antichrist. It's not just the Antichrist, it's a lot of folks, just like we are a lot of folks. We're groups of people, we're archetypes, okay? So we're going to go in and look at these the 5 groups, the 5 archetypes of the army of the evil one, okay? And that is also portrayed in The Hobbit. So you know what? You guys can save yourself some time and just start watching The Hobbit, okay? I should get royalties because I got folks looking at Troll Hunters. I got folks looking at Moana and other movies they probably wouldn't think about looking again. And now they should give me some royalties for The Hobbit, because, look, y'all gonna have to look at The Hobbit again and you're gonna see it with a whole new pair of eyes. Look at with your spiritual eyes. Okay, so in The Hobbit, it shows the meeting place, and that's when he puts on this ring, right? Every time he puts on that ring, it's the meeting place, and that's exactly what Sister Diana Olivieri was talking about in her dream, in her video about her dream, was she was in the same place as her daughter, but she knew it was a different time. That's exactly how I felt when I traveled, when I was sleeping, and I already explained that to you guys in the other video. That's exactly the same thing. It's exactly that. That's what the Most High Father showed me. Okay, so we're gonna talk about that a little bit more, and I want to point out that the Hobbit confirms the timeline. It shows Armageddon. The Hobbit, the 3 movies, it starts at 2014 and it ends at Armageddon. Okay, so it is just a confirmation of the same stuff. There you go. And so the reason why we're doing this study is because we really want to understand the deception. And as I've explained before, the Most High Father has given me all this stuff, but I can't digest it if I don't share it with you. It's kind of like a mama bird, you know. I'm getting it, I'm getting the worm, I'm chewing the worm, and then I'm spitting it out, right? But if I don't spit it out, I can't really have it for myself, because it's so much, it's so big, it's so much. So as I give out little pieces, he can give me more, and I give it out and he gives me more, and then we can see clearer, right? So we really need to understand this deception that is happening. I know it involves the technology. We talked about the Prince of Persia involving perhaps Mark Zuckerberg, and we talked about the Oculus technology being perhaps, definitely the Devil's Gate, but perhaps the mark of the beast as well. But the same with these technologies. It's not just one technology that's going to do it. There's all of these things together that are going to do it, you know. So we need to really understand this deception and what it entails and what's going on with that. And even more specifically, I talked about a tattoo in one of my videos because it was a dream, and I have not gone into that yet. Can't do it here, but we're going to talk about that when we get to really understanding the deception. We're talking about the deception of the end times, right? The ones that are going to lead a lot of our brothers and sisters astray to the false meeting place, right? And chain them to hell. Oh, Lord Jesus, please come back quickly. We want to do a comparison of the two because we want to understand the work that we have to do. So there's a lot of people who are not doing anything. We have to understand what we're supposed to be doing at this time. We are workers. We are harvest workers. Okay? We are harvest workers. Imagine a bunch of people in the fields plowing and going away at it. We need to be plowing and going away at it every day. Okay, this is an everyday, every moment situation. We need to be walking in the Spirit, learning to walk in the Spirit continually, because this is going down. We need our armor, just like the troll hunters how Jim 1111, he got his armor. So we are to have our armors because we're the leaders. So there's a lot of 144s who are they're awake, but they're still trying to, you know, figure stuff out. If you're awake right now and you're hearing my mouth words and you're like, 1111, we got work to do, okay, to prepare for the other people that are going to be waking up and coming to join us in 2025 and 2026, okay, and all of this stuff that's about to jump off in 2019. You know, we got, like I said in the other videos, we got like maybe 2 years of training to do. So, and that's training that should take millennia actually to master. We got about 2 years to get this together. This is 2017 right now. Okay, so we need to understand what this work is that we have to be doing. And when you watch the Troll Hunters and you watch the Hobbit and you see Jim, the main character, Jim, well, there's the three. There's the girl, Claire, Toby, and Jim. And then in the Hobbit, you know, there's the whole band of Bill, what's his name, Bilbo Baggins. And then you have all the characters that are, that's our work. I mean, it's spiritual. But that level of effort and strife and danger is our work spiritually. But I mean, at some point we might have to leave our house and go get to walking on the street and doing this. I don't know what's going to happen, but I'm just telling you, we need to understand the work that we have to do now, that we will be doing, and that has to be done by a certain time. Okay, so we've already talked about 2032. What I mean is that Hebrew years go from April to April. So April 2033 is the end of 2032. So 2032 ends on April 2033. So when we're talking about the timeline, that is the understanding I have, is that that's our time limit. That's what we need to be doing this by that time. Okay. And technically it's 2030 because 2030 is when we start our first missions to go up against this beast system that will be implemented and ready to go. So we, as Caleb, are going up to the city and to fight, you know. But again, I have to keep saying spiritually because I don't know how this thing is going to unfold, and I don't ever want anyone to think that I'm, you know, saying encouraging any kind of violence, you know. No, not at all. This is a spiritual battle against wickedness and spirits of darkness in high places. Okay, we're talking about a system, an evil system, not physical violence in any way, ever, never, ever. And I rebuke that in Yeshua Hamashiach's holy name. Anyone who tries to put that on me. So, yes, we need to understand this work that we have to do. And also I want to do a comparison because we need to understand the timeline, as I just said. And when you look at the Troll Hunters and the Hobbit and you see how it's pretty doggone much the same story, and you see that it's pretty much the same as the Bible timeline, and you see that my the Wakefulness Theology and my new stream is pretty much following the same story, and you match all of these things up, we can look at it and say, yes, we can have a visualization to try to understand a bit better what we're going to have to be going through year by friggin' year until 2033. And then in the Hobbit, it goes even a bit further and it shows Armageddon. So like I said, my information with Wakefulness Theology, it stops at 2033 and on the Gregorian calendar. And until I've looked at other people whose name continues past that point, or whose phone number or whatever their information goes past that point, I don't know what will be happening. But this Hobbit shows what will be happening after that point. So there you go. As I said in this series, I'm not going to break it down as much as I did the Troll Hunters. It's more of a comparison between the two so we can understand these things, all right? I hope that's clear. So let's start with the first part I'm going to try to chew. The confirmation of the 5 groups to fight in Holy Yahushua's bridal army who will not see the wrath of God. Okay, so These are the people who will not see the wrath, and the people who fight in the army. So a confirmation of that. And I just wanted to point out really quickly this article that I used at the beginning of the Troll Hunter series. When I talked about that, I talked about that article and the sister's dream. I had a vague understanding of it, a feeling. Usually my understanding is like a feeling. I feel it, but I can't put it into words. So the moment you put it into words is when it's actually yours. That's when you really digest it and understand it fully. So at the beginning of that series, I presented this article, I presented the dream. I didn't really fully get it. Now I do. Now I do. So we can look back and see how we've been following this this road, this path that the Father has put out for us, because I didn't know it was going to lead to all of this stuff. So let's look at the 5 groups. We have the 1111, and they're the order of Melchizedek. I'm sorry if I'm still mispronouncing that, brother. Melchizedek are the leaders of each group. The high priests who assemble and wear the ephod. The gems being representative of the tribes. This group is also symbolic of Yahushua. So pretty much, I think there was a dream I had at some point that explained this. It's and I don't know what video it is. I'm gonna try to each time put the video of reference here so you can go back and look at it. But you know, there's so much that I pack in each video. I don't know if I'll be able to find it, but I'll try. And so in that dream, the Most High, Holy Yahushua, was teaching me that from each, there's 5 groups, okay? And from each group, there are a few, the chosen, some, who are the leaders of that group. And that is represented by the 1111. And we talked about it in another group, why it's 1111 and all of that. And also Brother Richard and Brother Jason have been doing a study about 11, and he says, here, I'll just read this email that he sent me. It's talking about the transfer of power from the Father to us at this time to do what we have to do. Also the 1111, we're going to talk about Janus and duality and all of those things. So also Brother Jason, he was talking about 011 and 11-0. That's a video I can refer you guys to look at when you have time. So in short, the order of Melchizedek is Yahushua. It's the high priest, and also it's those who are chosen to be leaders for each of the groups. We got it? Good. So this is, I just wrote some information about the comparison between Christ and Melchizedek, because as I was saying, when we're looking just purely at the symbolism of the TV shows, I think it does both. Sometimes Jim is Jesus, and sometimes Jim is, you know, the high priest, but I don't know at what moment is what. So I just put this here for you guys to read and do the study for yourself. But here you go, you can read this. Here are all the Bible verses. Melchizedek can be thought of as a type of office as a king priest, by defining him as one whose functions in his office correspond closely to or set the pattern for similar functions carried out by one who fills the same office in a later period. Hebrews presents Melchizedek as one who is likened but not equated with Christ. So we're talking about high priests here on earth who wear the ephod, who are responsible for bringing the groups together, bringing the tribes together, and to do the work that needs to be done in order to prepare the way for the Most High Yeshua Hamashiach to come back, the leaders of each group. That's who I understand as the 1111, okay? And here, this is just killing me. I'm just now noticing this. Look, it's 331, y'all. He is screaming about this Prince of Persia thing. I'm telling, screaming, okay? I just can't wait to get to that part, because it's so, I don't know what's going on, but it's so important. Okay, so that's my understanding of what the 1111 is. I hope that that is clear. I really do, because it's not easy to explain. So in the cartoons, Yahushua Archetypes / the 1111 are represented by, this is Bilbo Baggins from the Hobbit, okay? I want you to notice, now this I just took as a picture of Yahushua from the movie Heaven is for Real, and in that movie there was a sister, a little girl who died, supposedly she died and went to heaven and drew a picture of Yahushua. So if you Google just Jesus, Heaven is for Real, you'll find this picture. I just want people to know I am not saying that this is what Jesus, Yahushua, looks like. I have no idea what he looks like. But I know that he can take whatever form he wants to take. He can take the form of a bird or a bug. He can do whatever he wants. But this is the picture that we have most recent of him, okay? And I don't subscribe to him being any color, black or white or whatever. I don't care. To be honest with you, I don't even care what he looked like. I don't care. I don't care what he looks like. What I mean is, he is my Lord and Savior, Yeshua Hamashiach, and he can look however he want to look. He can appear as a black man, as a Chinese man, as whatever he want. Okay, so I'm not picking up that argument with anybody. If you're gonna get stuck on that, then you should really pray. You should really pray, because you don't want that to hold you up in your spiritual progression. Okay, so this is the depiction that came to my mind of Yahushua. That is pretty recent, that movie. Look at that. Look at that. I know they're not exactly the same, but it's an archetype, is what I'm saying. It's an archetype. And then we have, of course, Jem from the cartoon. And again, we got, he fits the archetype, really. So, there you go. Now, the 144, so that was the first group. 1111, Melchizedek, the high priest order, okay? Which also would represent Yahushua symbolically. The 144,000 often represented as the woman of Revelation 12. And this is where I talked about the Lily video. So you remember everything that happened with that. So she's represented as the woman of Revelation 12. And I did a video about 37 and 73. Those are so important numbers. The number 73 and 37 is what jumped me off to start this YouTube ministry. So in this particular video, I was showing in 4 different, and I didn't even know at the time, 4 different movies. Why 4? I didn't know. I just did it. But now I know, and I didn't think about it till just now. But yeah, I show 4 representing the 4 groups. The number 4, 4, 4, 4 is so important. It represents the cross. 44 represents Yahushua. 444 represents Calvary and so many other things. The number 4 is a highly holy letter. Okay? We're going to get into that 444 later. But so I did a study about how you can see the number 37 in 4 different movies representing the woman of Revelation 12. Okay, which also is representing the 144,000 symbolically. Okay, so in the Hobbit, you see her like this with the arrow and the crossbow, and then in this one she has this shadow staff, which we talked about already in the other series. And this is the dimension that she's opening to go to the wilderness. Okay, look, it's right here, y'all. It's right here. Tell me, how could I make it up? How could I make this up? How could I? I'm not clever? Am I? Really? It's right here. So Evangeline Lilly is her name. The Lily video. That's why. That's why. Lily. In the video, the sister, Revelation 19, Lily Lin So it means good news from the Greek good, and angelma meaning news. So I don't know how that cannot be any clearer. I don't know how I can put those pieces together for you guys more. I hope that's clear. If you don't understand, let me know and I'll try to explain better. So it confirms the second group or another group, the 144,000. So I wanted to really show about, she had the bow and arrow. The 144,000 are the arrows hidden in the quiver of the Lord, harvest workers. So I didn't even watch this whole video. I just Googled to have some kind of confirmation about the 144,000, having the bow and arrow, because I know that's very important with the movie. Anyway, I'll put the picture on the screen. So I know that that is symbolic, very important, and I just wanted, and so I Googled and I fell right on this, and I just listened to a little bit. I saw a little bit and I was like, yeah, that makes sense to me. And here you go again with the clouds. Okay, the clouds are very important. So boom, just confirmation. All right, so another group we're talking about are the witnesses, and we went through great deal to compare him and to show how he is probably representing a witness. Now I wasn't sure, but now I'm even more sure. We talked about his weapon here. He has the bow and arrow again. You are witnesses of these things. So that's Luke 24:48. I put it here because his name is Luke Evans. That's the actor's name, Luke. And so then I looked up Luke and witness, and boom, you are witnesses of these things. So I was like, okay, that's pretty clear to me. But the reason I put these two characters together is very clear. He is the one that actually kills Angarat, which we said represents the tribulation. And in this movie, he is the one that kills the dragon, which is called, I'll put it here on the screen. So he's the one that kills that dragon, and so that's how you have them in common, because the dragon in this movie represents tribulation, okay? And he represents tribulation, and they also represent the beast system, which we will talk about soon. And there you go. That's why they. Now I'm saying using the word witnesses. As I've explained before, I'm just trying to give clarity to the situation. So maybe they are not actually called the witnesses. I don't know if that really matters. I know that they represent the third group of people, and it talks about what they have to do. Okay, there you go. The fourth, another group, is represented by the prophets, Gandalf and Blinky. Okay, Ian means John McKellen, so this interesting name is a variant of Alan, meaning harmony or little rock. So we talked about the rocks and everything. Okay, so Gandalf and Blinky, they represent the prophets. Obviously, if you look at the shows, you'll see that it's not really even difficult. He's the one that brings together the team. He tells them, like, he prophesies to the trolls and tells them, what's going to happen. Like, they call him a conspiracy theorist in the cartoon. People take him off and thinking that he's crazy when he says that Bilbo Baggins is going to be the burglar, and they're like, what are you talking about? You're nuts, but he knew, he could see and what's going on. He's the one that told them that the necromancer was back, the elves, and they didn't believe him either. So these are representing the prophets. They teach us, voila. And it goes back to Elijah Wood, I think. The Holy Father gave me that word about the archetypes of Elijah. So maybe these are representing the archetypes of Elijah that are coming back, or that are already here. I don't know, but there you go. So this would be the fourth group. So here is very important. I want to play this video. This is a video from the Guax one. You should look. I think you should look at the Guax because he helps me put a lot of pieces together. And you know, if you look on the first page of my YouTube channel, you'll see the people that I suggest on the first page, because I know these people are real because their messages are the same timing of my message. So every time that the Most High Father is giving me a message, I can look at these people and they're talking about the same stuff. It's the same stuff. It might be a different angle. It's like it completes a piece of a puzzle. So he has a puzzle, someone else has the puzzle, I have a piece of the puzzle. And then when you put all of these pieces together, you understand, really fully understand. And that's part of my job, is to bring us together, okay? And that's what I try to do in these videos, is bring together the messages, okay? So the Grox one, he has a lot of pieces, at least of many things that he's helped me before, but specifically for this message of this video about the 5 groups, boom shakalaka, is right here. Kesha praying Jesus, Judgment Day, earthquake, Illuminati, Freemason symbolism. So you can see here that it was published on the 6th of July, and right here is what we need to talk about. I'll talk about it, I think, at the end of this video more specifically, but here you have Trump. Here you have this character right here I want you to pay attention to, and I want you to pay attention to what he calls the branches. I'm going to play pieces of his video here, and it's going to explain, and then I'll come back and wrap it and put everything together for you after, okay?
Guys, we're going to the new age. This is called the new branch. And the reason that this was released on the 6th today is because it represents the new branch coming. We are in the 4 now. Zechariah 4 with the olive trees and the gold lampstand. And then will come the 5. Nuclear war will all be coming. And then we are finally safe with the 6. See the 4 chariots. The new temple will be built. The forever temple. This will be the forever temple, and it will be with the branch. Behold, the man's whose name is the branch, and he shall grow up out of his place, and he shall build the temple of the Lord, the forever temple. See the branch, and that is the new age. This was even in the new Star Wars movie, and Star Wars The Force Awakens. She would be Raya. She would be Raya going to Luke Skywalker and to Mark Hamill, going to bring the new age. See the whale right there? There's the whale. See how this side is leaving? And we have to get all the way over there. See, this side is being destroyed, and we have to go all the way over to there. In the Luke Skywalker, Mark Hamill movie, Star Wars, that was him right there. See, we have to get all the way from, see, the nuclear football is coming. We have to get all the way over to there. There is Kesha, right there. And the new age, that represents your whale. And the Bible is called the oil for the wise virgins. And we leave to the new age. So all of that right there in front of us. And that's why it's released on the 6th. But this also means great tribulation is coming. It's time to pray.
All right, so he was just explaining about the branches and about the whole process of how we have to travel over, which I believe is talking about the interdimensional travel that we will have to do, and coming back and New Jerusalem coming down and all of that. So I watched that video, and everything he said was in the back of my mind, and I looked on my calendar because I'm going on vacation in September, and I wanted to be careful about the holy days because, you know, the feast days, because I'm Hebrew, tribe of Judah. I love doing that. It's just because I just love Yahushua so much. So tribe of Judah, Hebrew, and so I do practice what do I say, observe the feast days. Okay, so I wouldn't want to, you know, step on any feast days, but I try to observe the ancient feast days, not, you know, from the Gregorian calendar that we have right now. So there's a sister called Nanya, and she, on her website, she has the dates for what she calculates to be the actual feast days. I don't know if she's right or she's wrong, but I choose to take her word for it, more so than, you know, the status quo, the establishment. So that's what I do. You do what you want to do. That's what I do. The feast day that I was looking at in September is a Shakot, right? And a Sukkot, and I've been doing this practice since 2014. That's when I've really understood, and so I've been doing the Sabbath and these feast days since then. But there's a lot that you have to learn. I mean, I've been asleep and I've been lost. We're the lost tribes, and we lost our identity, we lost everything, and so 2014 to 2017 is not a lot of time to regain everything that we've lost. So I have a lot of learning to do about my culture, my heritage, and all of this. So I wasn't quite sure about how to honor Sukkot. So every year I've been looking it up to remember what each day is and everything. So I was looking it up, and this just took me. It just, I don't know, it was as clear as day. It was, I've read this before. I read it every year since 2014 to be sure about how to do whatever I have to do. And this time, I saw it, guys. Look. Sukkot is the taking of the four kinds. The four groups. The taking of the four groups of people that we've been talking about in this series, in the last series. What? It's right here. It's been here all along in our tradition. And that's what's so important. That's one thing the Most High Father has given me. He's given me such a hard head. I'm not saying that's good quality, but it works in my case, such a hard head that I refuse to follow any traditions or costumes or costumes, as, what does he say, brother? Unplug 'em says, you know, I don't follow any costumes or customs just because somebody told me to. He's blessed me with the audacity and the hard-headedness to test everything and to try to find out, well, why? Why are we doing this? Why are we doing that? You know? And this is a great situation where people for millennia have been doing this, and they don't know why. I mean, they say it's because you know, because of what happened in Israel when people left in the desert and they had to leave Egypt or whatever. This is why it represents the four groups of people that will escape. Look at that. Look at this, y'all. So the four kinds are the citron. I'm not going to try to pronounce those words. The palm frond and the myrtle branches and the willow branches. Now, let's read on here. During the course of the morning, you can pause and read this all for yourself or look it up if you want. The video is going to be too long to do that. But prayers it is also traditional to take a bundle of 5. We said there's 5 groups in the bridal army because one leaves early, but they come back. So there's 5 groups. The 5 willow branches, and beat them on the ground 5 times. There's 5. Look at this, y'all. Look at it. There's 5 groups in the bridal army. I told you there's 5 groups in Satan's army. We are the branches, and we beating them. We beating them. We're beating them. Look at it. That is why. And then here, I was like, what? You know how we said you have the hoopah. I think hookah. I think I'm going to mispronounce it. But the Chet symbol. And I've talked about that in a few different videos when we were talking about the 888. Okay? And the 444 as well. I'll try to put the videos up so you guys can go back and look at that if you want to. So for 40 years, 40 is very important. I guess I'll just tell you guys my age. I don't want to, but let's just say it has to do with 2014 and the number 40, okay? I'm not saying nothing else because I'm a lady and I don't say my age. But 40 years is so important. I think I've done a study on that as well in one of these videos, but just look it up for yourself. You put 40, the number 40 in the Bible, it'll explain everything. This is so important. And so about the Exodus and the clouds of glory. So I was talking about the 133 or the 331 and the Prince of Persia. All of this comes back into that those letter lines. But the thing that really stuck out to me the most was the sisters from South Africa's dream when she was talking about they were in the house. And then I did the, I deciphered her dream. What is it called? Anyway, I was talking about her dream, and we were saying that this house represents the place of refuge, the place of safety, and it also represents the wedding feast of the Lamb, obviously, right? So we have the 5 groups, we have the Armageddon, the fight, and then we have New Jerusalem. Now, when I'm numbering these, it's not in chronological order. It's just trying to order. I'm just trying to make sense of this stuff, okay, guys? So after you understand the message, after you can see the consistency and the congruency between everything, after you can order it in your mind the way you want to, okay, you have your own direct messages from Yeshua Hamashiach. I'm proposing my piece of the puzzle. You probably have a piece of the puzzle, and we can put this puzzle together. You know, bing, bang, boom. Let's keep going. So, and this is another group. This would be the 5th group, okay? And this is what I consider the first group to be leaving, which is what I understand from the timeline, really going to go down in 2019. And I had another dream not long ago. I didn't mark it. I didn't write it down because it was one of those dreams where you wake up and you're like, what the heck was that? I can't really put it into words. It was just a lot of stuff happening. But the one thing I did understand was a confirmation of that 2019 situation. And again, that's the Hebrew year. So that can go into 2020 up until April 2020. So from what I understand in the last study that we did with the troll hunters, it's a group of people who are going to be leaving. It has something to do with a water event, and they're not all going to leave. There's some are going to stay. Some are going to stay and join the rest of us, the other groups, but a lot of them do go home at this time. And from the troll hunters, we did that study. His name is Draw, and he symbolically dies. I can't see the episode. What is that? In episode 19, which was confirming the year 2019. You see that right here, episode 19, Airheads. And this character right here, he represents a few things in the Hobbit. He represents, his name is Richard Armitage, and we're going to talk about that name. But he represents not only, he represents the Prince of Persia at one time because he's the prince. He's the son of the Mad King, right? So he represents the Prince of Persia at one point. He represents Jesus also at another point. And then he represents this group of people who are going to leave at 2019. So he, in one character, he symbolizes like 3 different things. He symbolically dies in 2019 in the TV show, in the movie. It has to do with the water. But if you see the clip, you'll see that this is the moment where they're symbolizing the escape of the woman. They're in the wilderness, the Satan's army is following them, and then you have these great winged creatures who come and save them and take them to safety, okay? You see all the fire burning. All of that is representing tribulation. All of that is representing, all that fire is representing tribulation. And this is when he symbolically dies. And he's resurrected. But as I said, some of them are not. Some in this, whatever is supposed to happen, some of them go to heaven. And we talked about that in the last video series with the troll hunters because of the dreams from, there's like 2 or 3 people having the same dream at the same time. So we use that to understand that there will be a water event where some of these people will pass and some will stay. And that's why I believe in both of these cartoons, you have them that symbolically die, but they don't leave the cartoon. Okay, but they are the fifth group. We talked about them being represented symbolically by the Levites, and that's because at the time I was doing the study, that's what we were talking about. So those are the 5 groups confirmed by the Hobbit. I really don't know what else to say. So his name is Richard Armitage, and I wanted to point out that Armitage, his name means hermit. Okay, it's a traditional name from a place. It's hermit. So if you remember, earlier we talked about the branches, that we are the branches and all of that, and now we have the hermit card. Okay, a hermit is one who lives in a desert or wilderness, from the Greek word eremo. I am a Jewish hermit by my heritage, but my heritage is in neither. This is because the term hermit has a spiritual connotation as well as a geographical or topical one, and can refer to one who has in some sense withdrawn or separated himself from society to live a life of simplicity, meditation, or prayer. Pretty much what I understand is a hermit is a spiritual lifestyle that one takes on. And as we talked about earlier in this video, LeGrox was explaining about how we have to go over this and come here, right? And this is representing the New Jerusalem, and this is representing it looks like Revelation 14, huh? But anyway, as he was explaining in that video, there you go. And this is the hermit. He is the hermit. Armitage means, hermitage means the hermit. So again, guys, I'm not making this up. I'm not making this up. And if I was, man, I should be rich, because this is crazy. So as I was saying, the trilogy is confirming the timeline. So the first movie is called The Hobbit: Unexpected Journey, 2014 to 2019. And boy, was that true. I've already talked about a little bit my experience of 2014, and I asked you guys if you had any kind of experiences like similar to that, where you really started your calling, or you felt the calling or something in 2014, to let me know, to give me a message. But I tell you, I was trying to figure out, I told you I started in 1999, and I've been trying to figure out these numbers and everything for years. He gave me the formula, and I had to experiment with it over and over, but I didn't get the end. I didn't get the full formula until 2016. But in 2014 is when he gave me the book cipher, where I could finally start to understand the spiritual language of Roche Thesaurus number 5. Number 5, y'all. I told you, as we go through this, we're going to learn together. Roche Thesaurus number 5. There's 5 groups. There's 5 groups in the Bible Army. Roche Thesaurus number 5. Anyway. So 2014 is when I really started to bloom. I don't know. And so that's when I started understanding this. And let me tell you, what I'm doing right now is an unexpected journey. This whole understanding everything, this is absolutely unexpected. Okay, I had my thoughts and my image and my ideas about what this would be and what was going on, but I was all wrong. I was completely wrong. Okay, this is an unexpected journey. This is crazy. So, and then the second movie is The Desolation of Smog, which I said represents the tribulation in the beast system, represents 2019 to 2033. So this is pretty much what we studied in the last series with the troll hunters. Okay, and this one right here, this represents from 2033 Gregorian calendar to the apocalypse. Okay, now I know that I'm supposed to look at Lord of the Rings again. You guys, I don't know if you paid attention to it, but each movie is 2 hours long, and there's 3. I have not had a chance to relook at that again, but I did start it, and at the beginning of the movie, Bilbo Baggins, who I said represents the 1111, the movie starts, the first movie of Lord of the Rings, it starts with his birthday party. Guess how old he is? 111. 111, I kid you not, it's his 111th birthday, okay? They couldn't make him 1,111 years old because they had to respect the amount of time that goes between the Hobbit and the Lord of the Rings. But if they could have, he would have been 1,111 years old. But 111. So I will definitely probably look at the Lord of the Rings again with my spiritual eyes before the end of this series, but I'm not sure. And I don't even know if I really need to do it, because what I understand already from The Hobbit is enough. I don't know how Lord of the Ring fits in that story. But I'm curious. So this is we're reaching the end of this first part. I just want to set it up for the next video. We're going to talk about Revelation 19, and before we talked about 19:14, where we have the 5 groups of the bridal army for Yahushua. But now we're going to talk about the gathering to make war of the evil one. So this is Revelations 19:19, and again 2019, 1919, right here. Sum up with that 19, y'all. I'm telling y'all, it about to jump off. I don't know what's going to happen in 2019. Besides, I'm just saying, it ain't never going to be the same again. Life that we know right now will never be the same again after that. So I hope you guys are getting your spiritual armor and training and getting ready. I saw the beast, one group, and the kings of the earth, 2 groups, and their armies, 3 groups, gather together to make war against him that sat on the horse and against his army. And the beast was taken, and with him the false prophet 4, that wrought miracles before him, with which he deceived them, and had received the mark of the beast and them that worshipped his image. These both were cast alive into the lake of fire burning with brimstone. So right here you have the 4 groups, and of course the 5th group, the 5th would be Satan himself, because this beast is not Satan, something else. It's the beast system. It's, we're going to go through what each of these archetypes represent soon, but these 4 plus Satan and his that's 5. We're also going to talk about this mark of the beast and his image. As I said, I had that dream about the tattoo, and so I really know, because at the same time I had the dream is when this technology was coming out. I didn't know about it. I dreamed about it first, and then I saw it on the news the same time I was doing the video telling you guys about it. It's a tattoo where you can hear, you take your cell phone with your app, and then you can play whatever sound is on your tattoo that is written like a sound. And in my dream, it was telling me that if you get that tattoo, you have to stay here till Armageddon. You do not get to escape. And there's some of us who will not escape because of that. So we really need to look at specifically the technologies and what these things mean here. Okay, but I can't do it in this video right now. We'll do it little bit by little bit, because as I talk, as we go through this, I just learn and understand so much more than I could if I don't go through the process. So sorry for you guys that I can't just spit out answers, that you have to go through the process. But I think it's good, because at the same time, hopefully your spiritual eyes and ears are being developed at the same time. And you're learning and growing with me, so you know that this is just not me just saying stuff because I'm bored. I mean, this is really a process that the Most High is taking us through to learn these things, to have this ability, right? Okay, so that's what we're going to talk about in the next part. We're going to talk about the 4 groups, well, 5 groups, for the evil one. So there you go. Thanks for watching. Now you guys should have an idea about what we're going to tackle in this next series. I don't know the order. I'm just going to let the Holy Spirit be in charge on this one. But in the upcoming videos, we're going to talk about the groups of the evil one. We're going to talk about the time travel and the duality of Janus and what all of that means. We're going to talk about the secret meeting place. We're going to look deeper into, most importantly, we're going to really try to solidify our understandings of the deception, meaning the technology that's going to come up soon, the work that we have to do, and of course the timeline and the secret meeting place. So there you go. I hope you're geeked for this new series. I am. As I said, the Lord downloads me, and when I give it to you, I actually get peace and rest and better understanding. So thank you for being on this journey with me. I pray that you're well. I pray that you are blessed abundantly, and I hope you have a wonderful Sabbath day. Shabbat Shalom, my brothers and sisters. I love you in Christ. Mwah. Shalom.